All right, continuing on with media availability, we have the driver of the number 16 Lilly Diabetes Ford for Roush Fenway Racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, Ryan Reed. Ryan, you're here this weekend. Yesterday, you took some time, headed over to Hunter Holmes McGuire VA Medical Center through a partnership with RIR. Today, you're going to meet with some veterans later on. It's NASCAR Fan Appreciation Weekend here at the track, and there's a lot of NASCAR fans who are veterans who can't get out. What was it like to be able to go and interact with some of those fans who can't get out to the racetrack?
Oh man, it was pretty special. I've never been up there, and that first of all, the place was huge. I couldn't believe just the sheer size of the place. I mean, we toured it. It took us about an hour and a half to kind of go around and tour. And I don't think we saw the whole place. It was a pretty amazing facility, a lot of technology. So it was really cool of them to let us come up there and hang out. But it was even more cool to kind of meet with a lot of the veterans. A lot of those guys are huge race fans. Knew all about racing and was very up to date on everything. And so it was cool to see how much the sport means to them, but then also just to kind of hear their stories and hear what they've done for our country. And so it was a huge honor to be able to go meet those guys and to see their reaction of us going there was very memorable for me personally. And then also there's 25% of veterans are actually living with diabetes, and so me and myself living with diabetes, that's pretty big connection. And so they have a whole diabetes unit there. Got to go meet some of the veterans living with diabetes, and so it was personally special for me as well. And it was a really cool trip.
Anything stick out? Any interaction with any particular person or anything like that, or all meaningful in their own way?
Yeah, I mean, certainly you're not going to sit there and talk to a veteran and not pay attention, not take it, in its own right. But, there was one guy that came up and was talking to me, and I was there with Brandon Jones. We were signing autographs, and, oh, man, he knew everything about racing that you could possibly know. He probably talked to us for 20 minutes about the chase and where I was at in points, and if I was stressed out. I mean, he probably knew more about where I was at in points than I do, so he was very on it as far as his racing knowledge goes. But it was pretty cool to see, like I said, just how many race fans there were there. It's as a race car driver, when you can talk about racing with somebody, it makes the conversation flow a little easier.
Speaking of points in the chase tonight, you'll have the opportunity to clinch a spot in the chase even without a win. How does that change your approach, knowing that you'd like to get that win, but you can clinch a spot if you run well?
Well, about 6 weeks ago, we kind of had a string of bad races, and we felt like, man, we're not all that safe as far as the chase goes. And so we kind of put our head down and clicked off a few top 10s, got a top 5 at Road America, had finished 13th at Darlington, which was mediocre, but still a decent points day. And I think I wasn't even paying attention to points. I knew we were, putting ourselves in a good position, but someone said we're maybe 70 points to the good. And so, yeah, I mean, I think we're right there. And like you said, we can clinch it tonight. But kind of like I was in here when Carl was up here a few minutes ago, and he was talking, and you can be a lot more aggressive and try things. And we had a very experimental practice this morning, tried a lot of things, especially there's not a whole lot of short tracks in the chase for us, but looking ahead to Phoenix, maybe if we can get that far, this is a place where we could maybe learn some stuff for there. So tried a lot this morning. Felt like we had a pretty productive practice. So, we definitely want to get ourselves clinched in tonight. Even if we don't, we still feel like we're in a pretty good spot to be able to go out there and get after it and go for a good run and maybe even go for a win. Obviously, you still want to, even if we do get clinched in, wins are still going to help us once we get into the chase.
Does anybody else have questions for Ryan? We go right here.
Dave Lawrence, Richmond Suburban News. I had done a bit of story on you a few years ago, and they were learning how to monitor and how to control your blood sugar during races. I mean, have you gotten better? I mean, not that you were bad with that, but I mean, has that gotten easier, or has it gotten a little more effortless? You don't have to think about it as much now.
I think it's talking to anyone living with diabetes, and regardless of what your occupation is, your day-to-day life is your day-to-day life, and race car driving is part of my day-to-day life, fortunately. But I think I don't know if it becomes easier or more effortless, but it becomes more of a routine. It becomes something that I guess gets a little more comfortable. But technology keeps advancing. Things continue to get more reliable, more accurate. And when it comes to watching your blood sugar, something that is so pivotal in your day-to-day, not only health but just the way you feel and your energy levels. It affects you in so many ways that how reliable that equipment is and the technology that you have in place is really important. So I think every day more and more technology comes out and it becomes more reliable. It only helps me manage it and makes my life a little bit easier, and I feel a little better too.
Anybody else have questions for Ryan? Go to Woody.
Woody came with MRN. After you leave the short track, you go to Chicago. I'm just curious about where you feel your program is stronger. Is it short tracks? Is it the intermediates? Where do you feel like you guys are really clicking right now?
Well, I feel like we're bringing better race cars to the mile and a half than short track. I feel like short track's probably where we're the worst. I feel like we just have the least amount of speed and balance at short tracks. I think we, have a long way to go there. With that being said, we have made some progress at short tracks, but, places I'm really looking forward to going to Chicago, and then I'm really looking forward to going to Kentucky. We had a really fast car there and had a mechanical problem earlier in the year, but I feel like that's a place where we can go, maybe even contend for a win, but for sure have a solid top 10 day and be around all day to put ourselves in position. So I feel like our mile and a half stuff is pretty good. I feel like our, high, max grip stuff like Kansas, Kentucky, Michigan, those are the places where I would say our stuff's probably the best. And so I would say Kentucky and Kansas are probably our best places to get a win at the chase. But Chicago and Charlotte, I feel like are, we can put ourselves in position for a good finish there as well.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Good luck tonight.
Thanks, guys.